Alright, so I'm going to show how to open up and disassemble this Lenovo IdeaPad Z570. So I already took out a bunch of the screws. You'll need a PH1 for that, or J1. Right, so first what you want to do is remove the battery, of course. Just slide these two to the side. This one stays locked in place, and then this one has a spring, so you have to hold it to the side, and then you can pull the battery out. After you remove the battery, just like every other computer, you want to hold the power button down for about 15 seconds, alright? Alright, this will drain any power that's in the computer, so that way if you happen to drop something conductive on it or something, it won't cause a short and damage it. You still want to be careful, but this greatly reduces the risk of damaging something. Okay, so after you do that, you want to take all the screws out. This screw got stuck, so I couldn't take it out. Hopefully I'll be able to remove it after I kind of pull the case apart. But anyways, you want to remove all the screws. So hopefully I won't miss any, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 on the bottom, and then you want to remove all these, or not really remove them, but undo the screws that are holding this cover in place. So the cover screws, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. After you undo all those screws, these screws actually stay connected to the cover. There's this little hole here that you kind of use your fingernail or pry tool, and then you kind of just pull this up. If it's getting stuck, it might be the screws not completely released. You can kind of unscrew it some more, but there are some clips here, so just keep that in mind. It might not come out really easily. All right, I didn't open this to clean it or anything yet, so yeah. So I'm opening this for the first time. I mean, I've opened a model like this before, but this is the first time I'm opening it, this specific computer recently. So if I get confused, then yeah, just know that I might not know where everything is right away. Alright, so there's some more screws inside, so you want to remove them. There's another screw here holding the keyboard. So we are going to have to take the keyboard out before we kind of take everything else apart. So I'm going to put all the screws, try and keep all the screws in order. They are different sizes, different lengths, so it's important you don't get them all mixed up. I probably should have mentioned that earlier because this laptop has a lot of different size and length screws. Alright, so remove that small one, and then after you remove that screw, you can actually pull the CD drive out just like this, okay? Alright, now that you got the CD drive out, so the main reason I'm opening this is because we're going to have to change out the charge port. They broke it. Inside it got pushed in, and then I guess the wires broke. Then there's 3 screws underneath the CD drive, so you want to remove those 3 as well. Right, again, you want to keep them in order. It looks like the plastic underneath here is broken. Okay. Normally this plastic is all one piece, but this is broken, so I'm just gonna set the broken bits aside, and then I'll see if I can put them back later. Alright, we will remove the wireless antennas. You just go at the tail and pull it up. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing, but you basically just pull up at the tails, okay? You don't want to pry up from the front of the connectors, you always want to pry up from the tail. Okay, and the antenna will be released like that. Then you'll want to remove the hard drive. So this is a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive, so if you want, you can upgrade it to an SSD. But yeah, it's a 2.5-inch, okay? So to remove the thing, usually you would pull this tab. Sometimes it might be difficult to pull the tab, so what I do is there's the screw hole here that I use with the screwdriver to kind of pull it, just like that. Usually I'll use a smaller screwdriver that fits all the way in the hole, so it's kind of like a handle to pull it back. But the hard drive is held in place with 4 screws to this metal caddy, so you just transfer it over to the new hard drive if you're going to do that. I have a video for how to clone everything from the old hard drive to an SSD, so if that's what you want to do, just look for that video or post a comment and I'll basically send you that link. Alright, so let's see, are there any other screws we need to remove from here? Nope, there's the CMOS battery here. You can reach the connector from here, so if you do need to take out the CMOS battery for any reason, you can do that. I'm just going to leave it in there. Alright, then we got the RAM. So the RAM here is, this is old, so probably, oh, okay, PC3 10600S. So if you need to replace the RAM, I don't know if you can read that, but PC3 10600S. This RAM looks a little corroded, so I'm going to wipe it off. Some people think this is bad, but I've had sticks of RAM causing problems. I do this, and it's perfectly good again. So, yeah, this doesn't really have any issues. The little pins are gold, so they don't really get corroded or anything, okay? Okay, so let's see here. So you got the fan. Should I take the fan off? No, the fan is held. The fan is held in with this, the 3 screws holding this heatsink down. This CPU, the processor actually looks replaceable on this model. You just have to get a flathead screwdriver after you remove the heatsink and pull it out. You can twist this little thing down here. You can twist it counterclockwise to unlock the processor and remove it. But you can only upgrade so far. It has to stay within the same family generation and stuff. This is already an i7, so I don't think you can really do much as far as upgrading goes. Okay, so there's one screw up here also holding the keyboard, so you want to remove that as well. Okay. Again, these screws are all different size and lengths, so you do want to keep them in order. Okay, so let's see here. We got all of that out. Alright, so now let's open the keyboard because there's very likely screws under there. Okay, so you just open the screen. Open it gently because there are missing a bunch of screws from the bottom that usually hold the hinge in place. And if you're not careful, you can actually break the hinge mounts that hold the screws on that are still inside. Alright, so to remove the keyboard, usually you get like a flat pry tool like this, and then you kind of just slide it along. You'll feel like a clip, and then wherever you feel the clips, you kind of just pry it up. Okay, so go along here. Alright, let's see if I remember correctly for this model. Yep, okay. So you just pry it up like that. And then sometimes these side clips are a little difficult, so to get that out, you kind of like pull up the center and then push down on the sides. So I kind of twist my hand so that way my fingers pull up the middle while the sides of my palms push down the sides. And that allows the keyboard to kind of bow outwards so it's shorter, and then it releases those clips. So to disconnect the keyboard, you just hold the keyboard up like this. Usually you don't want to bend it too far, but I'm trying to show what I'm doing. So let me see here. I'll zoom in for you a bit. Alright, so the keyboard has this little latch here. So to disconnect the keyboard cable, you just flip the latch up. I use my fingernail and just pop it up like that. Okay. A bunch of people like to tell me to cut my nails, but I use them for this, so it's not going to happen. But yeah, so there you go. Then you got these little connectors. You want to disconnect them as well. I think this is for the power button. I won't know until I take the cover out, but yep, disconnect that. It is held down with an adhesive, so you just got to be careful with that. Then there's this connector here as well. I believe that's for the buttons on the top. Okay, so you just disconnect that as well, and then you can pull that cable out. Then you got some more connectors down here. This one I believe is for the trackpad, and then you got one connector here which I think is for a speaker, but we'll see. So these kinds of connectors, you just use your fingernails or pry tools or whatever, and you kind of just wiggle it just like this, okay? I don't know what tools you can use to do this, maybe tweezers or something, but you have to be very careful not to scratch the board, so that's why I like fingernails. So you just do that, keep wiggling it. It's gonna feel tough to remove, but don't worry, keep wiggling it, it'll eventually come out. Just keep going. Oops. Alright, just keep going, keep going, keep going. Oh, this one's really tough to remove. Alright, there we go. So it came out. Just like that. Okay, so just keep in mind those might be tough. And another thing I like about nails, you see this one, it got like damaged, but I don't care because I just cut it off and then it grows back. Okay, so let's see, we got all of those. There are screws under here, so there's one, oops, let me zoom back out. So there's one screw here, and then there's another screw here. Okay, so we'll remove those two screws. Again, you do have to be careful when separating these pieces, because there's probably going to be some stuff holding it with the adhesives and things like that. I try and avoid breaking these stickers, though this thing is like way out of warranty, so it doesn't matter if it tears, but I like to keep them intact. Alright, and then just take that screw out. Okay, so we got those two screws out. Alright, and then hopefully now it will come apart. So you might have to peel up this adhesive thing away from here, because you don't want to just yank it and then it might end up damaging something. But you don't want to bend the cable up too far to crease it. You kind of want to keep the cable flat. So I'm holding down this black plastic material while I kind of pull up on this, and then it peels away just like that. Okay, be careful pulling it, because if you pull too quickly you can damage the cable, because this metal thing is in the way. Okay, alright, so now let's see how we can open this piece. I believe the layers should just separate here. So I get my fingernail in between the gap here, and then I kind of just pull this out. Okay, there's a bunch of broken plastic in here because, I don't know, they dropped it or something. Alright, but yeah, you want to be careful lifting this up. I don't know if, I think that one screw that was stuck earlier is still like holding it in place, so it's kind of stuck. Oh, actually, okay, it's not holding it. Alright, I'm going to have to do a lot of cleaning. This thing's very dusty, but you just lift the cover out like that after you undo all the clips. So here you can see I was right. This one cable is for the power button, and this cable is for a microphone actually. So it's not a speaker, it's for a small microphone. Okay, so now we got that out. So you can see there's kind of a lot of dust. There's like big dust balls in here. So I will have to take this out and clean it up later. Wow, that's a terrible design for the charge port. So the charge port is right here. And there's this metal bracket holding it. So it looks like there's one screw here. Hopefully that's the only one that's holding it, because that's a lot of work just to get to that one little piece. Alright, so we take that one screw out, and then hopefully this metal piece will come out. Yes, it's coming out. Oh, it is trapped underneath the motherboard too. Jeez, why did they design it like that? Let me see if I can take the charge port out now. So I'm lifting up the metal bracket, and then I'm kind of pushing the charge port up and out of the way. You might need to use a small tool, maybe a toothpick, so you don't short something out. Okay, just like that. So now we can unroute this cable. So here you can see there's some adhesive holding it. Let me see if I can zoom in for you. Alright, so the cable comes out. Let me see where it is here. Okay, so once you get to here, there are some cables in the way. You might want to disconnect this to get it out of the way. Alright, so I just pull it back like that. And then you got the charge port cable is underneath the LCD connector here. The LCD connector, if you need to remove it, it should just pop up. Let me see here. I want to be careful. So I believe you just get your fingernail or pry tool underneath, and then you kind of pop it up just like that while holding the board down. Okay. Alright, so that's how you remove that connector. And then the charge port connector is very simple. You just grab the wire kind of close to the connector. Alright, I don't know if you can see it because my hand's in the way and everything. But you grab this, as you can see, and then you kind of just pull it and wiggle it, okay? You kind of want to get as close as you can to the connector when you pull and wiggle. I mean, if you're replacing it because it's broken, then it's not that big of a deal if you damage it. But if you don't want to damage it more, you just grab close to the connector and keep wiggling it just like this, okay? And it'll come out. There you go. So it comes out just like that. So when you put it back, this blue part will stay here, will go up, and then the part that you can actually see the gold pins will actually face downwards. Okay, so here's the issue why it wasn't charging. Oops, here's why it wasn't charging. I don't know if you can see that, but the cable here, it disconnected from this piece. So I actually can fix this. You just need to solder it back, but it looks like, oops, it looks like the solder here broke. So if you wanted to try and fix your charge port, if it wasn't, if it was like this, if it broke like this, let me zoom out a bit. Oops, get rid of that. Okay. So if you wanted to fix this, the charge port thing, you basically have to cut back this rubber, the rubber stuff, and then let me see if I can do this with some pliers. Okay, so pull out some of this rubber. All right, and then you basically have to use a soldering iron to melt this wire back onto here, and you have to also add some flux. So this one, the wire is very short, so I might not be able to do it unless I cut this stuff some more. It is just the black grounding cable. So, but it looks like this, I don't know, this rubbery stuff is kind of sticking out too much. So the easiest way to kind of cut it, if you don't have a wire stripper, you can use like a razor or something sharp, and you just kind of cut around it. Okay. All right. So normally I won't show these kinds of repairs, but maybe somebody will benefit from it. Maybe I should make a separate video just on how to solder stuff, but I'm not going to show how to do the soldering, but basically if you can cut that stuff off, now you can see there's some exposed wire here, okay? And that's what you need to get to, and then you can actually solder some new, add some new solder to the wires, and then that should fix the problem, okay? So here I'm just cleaning off the junk. You want to kind of clean off all the copper stuff so that you can see the wires. And then after that, you just need to solder this piece onto here. Normally you'll thread the wire through, there's a little hole here, but it's not really required. It'll make it a little bit stronger, the joint, but if it breaks the wire off from being bent weird, then it'll just break anyways. So it's actually better if you solder the wire straight in, so that way the pulling force is more like it's just yanking like this instead of like kind of pulling it like that. Okay, but anyways, that's pretty much all there is to this. To replace the charge port, you basically just get the new one, or you fix this one and then solder that back in. The one thing with this, because it's kind of a gap here, so this plastic is supposed to hold it and keep it in place so it doesn't keep moving out. The charge port on here was loose, so when they plugged it in, it pushed it back because all this plastic here, they broke it off. So to fix that problem, once you get the charge port in place, I like to fill this gap with hot glue. And hot glue is kind of easy to break, so if you fill the gap with it, and if you ever need to replace this again, you can just kind of rip out the hot glue and everything. Okay, so hopefully this video helped you. If it did, please like and subscribe, because that'll help me. It'll also help others find this video. And thank you for watching. I guess I'll show the other components that are in here, though the main thing is that to put it back together, you basically just do everything in reverse. So usually I don't show all of that because there's kind of no point, and it makes it harder to do my repairs because I have to worry about showing you what I'm doing. But there's another connector here for the other speaker. We already unplugged the other speaker here. You got this cable, just like the keyboard cable. You flip up these latches for the USB board and the Ethernet or LAN board. So if you do need to replace that, you can. Then you got the audio jack headphone and microphone and the USB, as well as the SD card slot, and they connect with this cable here. And then you got this short cable. I'm not sure what this small sensor's for. I'm thinking these small sensors are for like the lid close. Is there a magnet in here? Oh yeah. Okay, so there's a magnet at the top of the screen here. So yeah, so if I put the screwdriver there, as you can see, it stays. So I think that lines up with this little thing down here. So I think that's the sensor for the lid close. I might be wrong, but I think that's what it's for. All right, anyways, thanks again for watching. Hopefully this video helped you. If it did, please like and subscribe because that'll help me. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.